Welcome to Make More Marvels. My name is Brad Hart, and today I have a very special guest. You may have seen him before. This is Chris Chandler-Yates. What's up, Chris?
What's up, Brad?
Yeah, if you guys are brand new to seeing us live, we talk about how to launch, how to fill, how to run, and how to scale a world-class mastermind that adds at least $100,000 in profit to your business and 5 to 10 hours a month ongoing. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go to mastermindtomillions.live. That's mastermindtomillions.live. And check it out. We have sold through all the cheap tickets, and now we're starting to sell at the higher price. We're getting closer and closer to this event. It is a hell of an investment in your business to create an additional revenue stream that doesn't take a lot of inventory or overhead. You don't need to be an expert necessarily to start a mastermind. If you have imposter syndrome, that's great. We can work through that. Chris here actually had imposter syndrome when he first started. Now he's at over 600 clients of his own with incredible results.
That is 100% correct. And yeah, imposter syndrome is one of those very interesting, fun things. Once you work through it, it's pretty good.
Yeah, this is a family episode, gang. So we got some questions from the audience, and we'd love to hear what they are, and we'll go ahead and answer those. We'll pick 2 or 3, and we'll go from there. What do you say, Chris? Do you have anything for us? Oh, and if you guys want to join our school group, which is also free, we're starting to move from Facebook over to school. You can do that at marbles.link/M2M group. That's marbles.link/M2M group. And Chris will also put that in the link in the comments so you can find it. And the benefit of doing that, I'll just show you because it's easier to just show you, is we got a bunch of great content over there that we don't have anywhere else. So let me show you. This is a video I did training people on how to increase their sales. My client Sonia did this. She came out of a corporate job in the UK, moved to Oman, wanted to start a mastermind because she could no longer work on UK hours, and decided to, she's already in sales. She's like, hey, I'm going to go find 25 people, invite them to sales calls. I'll probably get 5 sales calls booked. I'll enroll 3 clients and I'm off to the races. I said, why are you going to burn all your leads? So she decided to, better angels of our nature, listen to what we do here, which is do a market research call before the sales call. And as a result of that, she invited 20 people to a market research call. She got 18 of them to book sales calls and got 15 clients out of it. So she was expecting 3, she got 15, 500% better results than what she expected. And she didn't burn all of her leads. So very, very exciting. And you can learn that in just under an hour. So that's pretty cool. My client Sabo, how he used generative AI and content to book $250,000 in new business in 6 months. That's about one $10,000 client per week on average. And doing this with a chillionaire lifestyle. So what does that mean? So Sabo's not a guy who wants to work hard. He's already had a big exit. He's just looking to keep the bills paid and have a lot of free time. And he likes to, smoke marijuana and do all those types of things. No judgment there. But he likes to live his life, right? He likes to enjoy himself, and he's not looking to work super hard. And he managed to make an extra $250,000 in 6 months. That's a $500,000 a year run rate, working a few hours a week and building a little mastermind. He's launched 2 masterminds now, and he's crushed it. So you can learn all about that. And this is us going through his offer and how that put together. And he's already shifted away from it and doing amazing other things, even though he made a lot of money. He's just a very creative guy and wants to keep going. We've got a bunch of great content. If you go on over to the classroom here, you go to the launch pad, we've got some great stuff in addition to bonus strategies and all kinds of cool things. So I won't dig into every single one, but there's plenty here to dig into. I'm really a fan of the Remora strategy, for example, to fill your masterminds. If you have pricing issues or questions on how to price your mastermind, this is a great piece of content to watch, the PPSP module. Let's see, Jay's got some bonus stuff on creating high-level commitment, on naming your masterminds. There's a lot of good stuff here. And if you decide to come to our challenge or to the mastermind event, Mastermind to Millions, we're going to basically give you a master's degree in masterminds. And Chris has been, he can speak to it. What was your experience, Chris?
Oh, Mastermind to Millions, that was epic. The networking, the content was, I learned it in a different way. I've been around with you, Brad, for 5 years now, I think it is. And, know the content pretty well. Sometimes I even teach it for you, but just learning it in a different way, seeing it in a different way from you. And then also hearing Jay's stuff, the things that just the little add-ons that Jay does his kind of way, his Canadian way. We won't hold it against him. But he's not here to fight. So we won't where that was.
Perfect. I love it.
Absolutely.
So the headline there, gang, Mastermind to Millions, free group. You can go on over to marbles.link/M2M group. marbles.link/M2M group. That's Mary, the number 2, Mary group. And you can get all this free content here, both in the classroom and pinned to the community portion. And on top of that, you can go on over to mastermindofmillions.live and grab the tickets before the prices go up, because they're pretty damn good. All right. So that being said, what do you think, Chris, if we had to list out the main challenges that people have when launching their mastermind? So it's like the confidence, right? The belief structure, all that stuff. It's the imposter syndrome piece, which we already kind of touched on. Is it lead gen? Like, what do you think is
I think
most people down?
the big one for a lot of people is, first off, it's where to start. There's a question. If you scroll down just a little bit in the group, I think it was Julian asked a question around like, what's the next step?
Yeah.
Would like to launch a mastermind in 2 weeks. One, I'd say 2 weeks is too short. You're not going to launch one unless you've been warming that up really quick, like a lot.
And I can tell because he interviewed me in front of that group, and it's 170,000 people, and only 23 of them saw the video.
Yeah. So they aren't warm at all. They're not engaged. So it's really, the first thing is, I think for people a lot of times is one, where to start, and starting by just giving stuff out. We're seeing a lot of stuff come out of, different people around starting to do it, and even we're doing it by doing these lives, just giving lots of free information away, get your audience engaged. Those that want to know more will look at it more. And I think the next step is really then, how do you reach out to those people? I think that's the big one that a lot of people are afraid of. And that's where that imposter syndrome and all that comes in. But it's that, where do you find people? Like, if you don't have anybody that's even watching your free stuff, where do you find those people? Where should you post that free stuff? I think that's probably the first start.
And is your free stuff as good or equivalent to your paid stuff? Right. So the thing is, nowadays we have content out there that's like just a lot of fluff, a lot of crap. Right. And I think it's really important when you create content that you really solve a specific problem. So you want to have a good hook, right? You want to retain those people, and you want to make sure you reward them for their attention, and then give them a call to action. Right. So I think that's really important. For example, I want you guys to go to this group if you're interested in masterminds. If you're not, then don't do that. But 236 people have done that, right? It's just me consistently saying, hey, I think you should join this group. We have a lot of great content, giving you the spiel. You just heard it. Some of them have already bought, many of them, I think we've sold 50 something tickets to this group, that have bought the tickets are doing it, which is cool. And then the content is its own reward, right? So if you want to learn how to increase your sales, you watch the content. Now you know how to increase your sales, right? You got another thing you can try in your own business, whether you sell a mastermind or not. That's great, right? Or you want to learn about generative AI and how he generated a bunch of leads and closed a bunch of deals in 6 months, working a few hours a week. That could work really well, right? I have another piece of content coming this next week that's like all about the sales process, and what do you do when you actually get them on a sales call, and how do you kind of do the framing and discovery and closing. And Chris, you're very familiar with all this stuff. Like, how valuable was that just to learn that? Like, this is how it works, and I can actually make money.
Just your sales process, because I've been in retail, I've been in sales, I was a cop, so I had to sell people to get them to do stuff that I wanted. Just that process, I literally probably use it at least every other day, if not every day, in some capacity.
Yeah. And it's just asking questions.
Not just business, but in my life.
Yeah. It's not difficult. It's just asking questions. You've been asking questions your whole life, but we can teach it to you in a way that's like structured, and you don't miss things, and you don't run into the common landmines that most people are playing. Like, sales to me is like this game of Minesweeper, right? It's service first and foremost, right? People have to say yes and buy something before you can transform them and help them. So that's thing one. But thing two is, once you are in that sales conversation, especially for a high ticket product, there's a certain number of landmines people are going to fall on. There's really 5 big ones, right? It's money, it's authority, right? I have to ask somebody else to make this decision. It's time, and time is a function of priorities. It's trust, themselves, others, life, whatever. And it's ego. I don't think I need help. So those 5 things are what you're dealing with. And every objection or variable you'll hear falls under one of those categories somewhere, right? Sometimes it's multiple, but usually one. And the first 3 are not even objections in my mind. They're smoke screens. They're polite excuses not to do something. Oh, I can't afford it. Oh, I got to ask my wife. Oh, I got a million things going on. I can't do it. or this would be a good time to do it in 3 months. Well, the reality is when people are truly sold on something, that this is the thing that's going to get them their goals, truly sold, truly bought into the vision, they find the money, they convince the wife, and they prioritize the time. It's just the truth.
I'll tell you my story on the first two. So, this might help somebody kind of, get through that imposter syndrome on stuff. Those first two. When I signed up with Brad, I was making like next to no money running a not really kind of basic boot camp, charging people $15 to $20 and was having like 5 people turn up, 10 people turn up a week. And was working at a gym, struggling to get things, and thought I was just a cop. That's all I was. I was like, I'm an ex-cop. Why would people buy something high ticket? And Brad, I had met Brad and, got to know him a little bit. My wife had told me about him because she was his buddy at a Tony Robbins event. And we got on a call, on a sales call. And Brad tells me about stuff. And he goes, now, Chris, I know you need to talk to Kristen. I go, yeah, I don't care. I'm good. I'm in.
Yeah. No, I remember that. That's great. That's 5 years ago. You just reminded me. That's so cool. That's such a perfect example.
I was like, I don't care. I just need to go grab my credit card from downstairs.
Because you were bought in. This had to happen. And Kristen was going to get on board.
Yeah.
Ideally, willingly, but either way, she was getting on board.
Yeah, I was doing it. And I went downstairs and I was like, I need the credit card because she had it. And she goes, what for? I'm like, I'm signing up with Brad. She's like, you're doing what? I was like, yeah, I'm signing up with Brad. And she's like, how much is it? And I was like, X, Y, and Z. And she was like, okay, and where are we going to get that money? I was like, I'm going to make it back. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And you did many times over.
Many times over.
Right. And that first year, you actually had a month where you made more in a month than you'd ever made in a year as a cop or a personal trainer. I remember that.
I made more in that year than I'd ever made as a cop. I made more in 1 month than I had ever made. I made 15. I did a 15K. I did like 3 15K months that year.
Yeah. Which is
like, there's no freaking way, because I was on like $1,700 every 2 weeks. So I was on like $3,000, $3,500 a month as a cop.
It just raises the bar of what's possible. And here's the thing. Once you learn a process to sell, you can sell anything.
Yeah.
Right. Understanding the framework allows you to sell anything. You can sell a yacht, you can sell a skyscraper, you could sell freaking a sports team, you can sell anything. Yeah. For example, right now we're looking at real estate transactions in the 100 to 200 unit range. And it's the same exact thing. It's just now we're talking to a different audience that's a little more sophisticated. They have a little bit more money, but they have the same types of fears and doubts as everybody else. And they have the same type of questions. And you just have to understand what questions you need to ask in order to enroll them into the possibility of investing. And that's a different type of conversation, but it's the same.
Other side of it as well that you learn in Mastermind and Millions, you learn in BAM, you learn in all the things that you teach, is I had not always done the cold call type thing or the cold outreach because I'd worked in retail before. But as soon as I got the process of like what we're doing and how to do it, or like easily, like calmly, not a salesy type way, it was like, oh, I can do this all day long. And it actually got me a job during COVID and all that, doing that. Literally, that's what I did every single day. I just called people's list. I just literally jumped on the phone. I was doing like 30, 40 calls a day, calling people and booking appointments for the insurance advisors.
Yeah, that's it.
And I was beasting it over everybody else because of the stuff that I had learned 3 years prior, 4 years prior.
And you weren't doing any slick selling. You're just asking questions, I bet.
But just asking questions about where they're at, what's going on. And like they took the stuff that company took the stuff that I was doing and actually started getting the other relationship managers to start doing it.
Isn't this crazy? So somebody taught me something. I taught Chris something. Chris, and we all tweak it to make it our own. But, I taught Chris something. Chris went and did it. And now a major company, an insurance company, is getting the benefit that I've never even heard of. Right? It's like crazy to think about.
Yeah. And it's nuts once you start to just kind of do it. And this is where it comes into that. How do we find people? There are billions of people out there. You just have to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The amount of people that from Mastermind to Millions when I was there, and at the live one, the people that I networked with, the amount of people that have referred me to different people that they know because they're like, hey, this person might be able to help you with your thing. I'm helping police officers and helping police departments.
Yeah.
I want to help you. I'll put you in touch with this person. Because you just communicate your stuff.
That's it. And everybody needs help with something. And whatever your something is, you know, whether you're a coach, a consultant, a business owner, whatever you're doing in the world, speaker, author, trainer, whatever, somebody out there needs your message. Somebody out there needs your service, and somebody out there needs to pay you to help them because they're not getting it done on their own. Yeah. The reality is if free information worked in the age of YouTube and Facebook and Google, then everybody be a shredded billionaire, you know, with perfect kids and a great life. You know, it's just not the case. So people need help, and people pay attention to what they pay for. And I'm not saying free can't work, but it's like, let's stop kidding ourselves. Like, you pay attention to what you pay for because you have leverage to go do it.
I say this all the time on the podcast that I run for police and first responders. We're not in a world where we don't have enough information. You know, we're not in the 1920s when you had to, you know, ask around and ask people, and that's where you got your information from, maybe from the news and
most people had no idea. They were making it up, or they just didn't know.
Yeah, most people didn't even freaking know. Now we have information overload. You can double, triple, quadruple, 10-time check, make sure that information is right. It's not a problem of information these days. It's the problem of actually taking action on stuff.
Yeah. Well, and then the information changes. So last year ain't going to work this year, baby. It's moving too fast.
Yeah.
You almost have to adopt this.
Look at the food pyramid. The food pyramid's outdated now. I mean, we were all taught the food pyramid as kids.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's like poisonous, you know. It always was. And part of that's because the foods that are on that pyramid have grossly shifted from what they used to be. And part of that is because maybe it wasn't what we were supposed to be eating anyway. But anyway, if we know better, we can do better. And I guess what I'm trying to say is I would love to teach you how to build a mastermind offer. I'd love to help you gain the confidence and the vision to actually take action towards it. But I'd also love to teach you the prerequisite skills that are going to allow you to become an influential, authoritative selling marketing machine or whatever you need to be to enroll people into this mastermind. Because nobody else, listen to me now, if you're watching this, nobody else is going to believe it before you do. Right. And that's the curse of a visionary, of which I happen to be. Jasmine is not, my fiance, soon to be wife. Chris, you're a little visionary, or maybe, you know, I'm crazy. I see the future. I don't see the exact future. I see a potential of the future. And I try to enroll people in that possibility because I can see it so clearly, but they can't. And it's really hard when you have that gift and other people don't. People call you nuts. People think you're out of your mind. They're like, oh yeah. Like, I used to call my stepfather's name's Tom. I call him Doubting Thomas. Because anytime I would tell him anything that I was going to do, he'd be like, oh yeah, whatever. Or we'll see, or I don't know. That you know, he's just doubting. He doubted all the time. And he's learned not to do that shit with me because I make shit real eventually.
Yeah. I can vouch for that. Brad says he's going to do something for you. It's done before he even.
That's it. And I had to learn moderation with that. Like I can talk myself in a lot of things. I don't anymore. I try to stay focused, and I help other people stay focused as well. So both are, you know, the people who can put their head down and put blinders on and do the thing, that's very valuable. And the people who can create the big vision, a lot of ideas, it's valuable. But you have to get good at like experimenting. You have to get good at trying shit out and scaling up what works and getting rid of what doesn't. So, you know, mastermind, what is it? A mastermind is simply a collection of individuals that you facilitate to get clarity on their biggest challenges or whatever they want to move faster on in their life. It could be life, business, health, relationships, whatever. And get an outcome, right? And you're orienting yourself towards two things. You're orienting yourself towards results and relationships. Because if you have high results and low relationships, people are going to be more mercenary. They're going to get what they need. They're going to leave. If they have high relationships and low results, they're going to be like, hey, I'm paying you to hang out with my friends. I'm not going to do that anymore. But if you get results in relationships, they're going to pay you year after year after year after year. And it's not you specifically doing it. It's you facilitating those transformations by helping them get clear. And everybody can ask questions. We'll teach you the questions. We'll teach you exactly how to run a hot seat. We'll teach you exactly how to get 100% clear with them on what's going on. And then more than half the time, they're going to say, oh, I know what to do now because I'm clear. And some of the time they're going to be like, you're going to be like, oh, I know what to do next because now we're clear. Or someone in the room knows what to do next because now we're clear. And then a very, very, very small percentage of the time, nobody's going to have any ideas. And you're going to be like, well, that, or you just need somebody who has a specific expertise. And then you call somebody like us, me, Chris, Jay, whoever, who has a bigger network to be like, hey, I have this client. It's a very specific problem. Do you know anybody who can solve it? And it's a who, not how game. And the more who's you know, the less hows are an issue, right? Like I can run for president. I could go to the moon. I could do a lot of things. because I know some people, right? And I know where to start. And I will never commit to becoming president. I'm not interested in that particularly, but like the steps are not that crazy, right? It's like you go to law school, you become a lawyer, you maybe run for Senate, like you could build a plan to get there, right? And if you get there, you get there. But it's never going to start unless you get the vision clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to start a mastermind, come on down to the school group, check out the content, get excited, come to the event. We're going to run a challenge. We're going to do a lot of cool stuff. You've been following me for a reason. You're here for a reason. You joined this group for a reason. Don't let this be just another shiny object that you committed to for 2 minutes and moved on to the next thing. If you're already crushing it and you don't need a mastermind, awesome. But if you were still like, hey, I need to make more money in less time and help more people, assuming you like people, some people don't, that's fine. A mastermind is a great model. Low inventory, almost no inventory, no overhead. You can run it virtually, you can run it in person, you can run a hybrid, you can do them 10 times a year, you can do them once a year. It doesn't matter. Just pick it up, try it, run one, and then decide, is this something I want to continue in my business? It takes about 4 to 6 weeks to launch one, assuming that you already are in business and not just figuring it out for the first time. If you're already in business, 3 to 6 weeks, I'd say, yeah, no problem, and it, results may vary. If you're a cop, you can do it. It's just going to take a little more work. You're going to have to work on yourself a little more.
I don't know what you're talking about, Brad. I had a following of 600 people and like was selling fitness plans and doing some boot camp stuff. And I made
already in business. You weren't playing business. You were in business.
I already had an offer. I had somewhat of an offer.
Yeah, you had an offer and we just made it better and we made it more broad, right? We niched it down specifically to the police people. And now look what it's become. Now you're working with potentially police departments and lots of police officers, hundreds of police officers. So that's great, man. And the ripple and domino effects that you're going to have are incredible. It's why I do what I do.
I was just asked, hey, this is great. And I'm definitely in such a reigniting place with what you're saying. I joined the secondary platform for the mastermind group. Welcome to school. Is this where that can be utilized?
I'm not clear on the question. Do you want to share your screen and show me? When it comes to networking and joining VIP, et cetera, is this where that can be utilized? I think what she's asking is that where you can get tickets. You can get tickets at mastermindtomillions.live.
Is just down here.
Which is that. So that's where you can buy your tickets. In my area is not super connected, open-minded, money to throw. Okay. Do you mean your area like where you live or your area like your niche? Because that would be a different thing. So we can teach you how to build mastermind groups. We can teach you how to build them in your local area. We teach you to build them virtually. We can teach you to build them in different niches. Really, it's just like an experiment. We're going to come up with our best experiment. Like Chris came to us and he said, hey, I want to build a mastermind for cops. I'm like, I never heard of mastermind for cops. So we've got this 5-step process to figure it out. And it worked. And he got 15 clients and he was off to the races. And sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes the first idea is like crickets or a few people join. It's like not quite there yet. And we make tweaks and adjustments and we get there. Don't expect everything you do in life to work. In fact, 99% of effort is wasted in life. You know, this is true. 99% of the things you do in your life are going to be wasted effort, but the 1% can scale infinitely. I've launched over 100 projects in my career. Maybe 5 have worked really well. 10 is probably a closer number. I don't know. I'd have to like actually do the post-mortem on it. And some of them worked okay, but they didn't meet my standards. And what do I mean by that? So like a failure to me is if I can't make $100,000 in 100 days, I'm not going to do it. That's a failure. So if I start a new program and I don't make $100,000 in 100 days, I'm out. I had one recently where I made $80,000. Most people would be like freaking thrilled that, I made $80,000. That's like a huge win. But for my standard where I'm at, I'm trying to make millions. It's not working, right? It's like, that's just not scaling fast enough. So with that, I'm not going to keep doing it, but it doesn't mean it was a failure. It just means that I learned one more thing. I checked one more box that it's not the thing I want to keep doing. And I changed my approach as a result of that. But if I had never done it, I wouldn't have that data. So she had a few comments after that. What did she say?
Oh, she just said, yes, my area where I live. And then she said, great. Yeah. Yes, I agree. But failure is the best teacher. Thanks.
So there are wealthy, connected, qualified, interested people where you live. It's just, what do you offer them? Mm-hmm. Unless you live in, rural Siberia or something. Like if you live really in the sticks, then, that's something, but it doesn't matter because you're on the internet. Obviously you're talking to us on the internet. So you can build it virtually. And in fact, that's where most people end up wanting to go. It's a little different, but it's certainly doable. The fact is you have a device in your pocket or, a computer or whatever that connects you to every person on the world if they are open and willing, right? If you get the right message in front of them, you can connect with them.
Long ago, there was the days of infomercials.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Imagine spending $300,000 to $500,000 on a commercial that you didn't even know was going to work or not. And it's not like you could change it afterwards. You already filmed it. It's like, back in the day, it's not like you could just edit it on your Mac and republish it. We just did a retargeting ad where I'm getting 12-cent clicks now, but we had like 9 variations of the retargeting ad. And the only thing I changed was the video, right? So the headline is the same, the copy is the same, the call to action is the same. And the difference between like 2 of them that really worked and the rest that just didn't was stark. It was like one got hundreds, the other got hundreds, and then the rest got like 10, 5, Yeah. So it's like you just kill the ones that aren't working and you try the next one. And then the next time you do it, you take the ones that worked, you do another version, right? I'm always telling my team, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, Philip, I love you. You're awesome. You're a great EA. I'm trying to teach him how to do funnels. And he's getting so complex. He's putting walls of text and all this shit. And I'm like, dude, this is it. This is it. You see this page? Like, this simple. Headline, bullet points, opt in, maybe an image. That's it. All we need, all above the fold. That's it. We're not writing a novel here. We're marketing.
Half the time on my ads, for example, or when I'm doing stuff, I don't even have a landing page for it. It sends them to a messenger app, or it sends them to just.
That works.
It uses Facebook lead.
That might be even better. And you use the piece of technology that makes sense for where you're at. That's great for when you're starting out. When you got 30,000 people active on your list, it starts to be a little bit tedious to message with everybody. But when you're starting out, get the most you possibly can at every lead. 100%.
And also it depends on the clientele that you're dealing with. Are they, my clientele are people that spend a lot of time on social media. So sadly, that's where I end up. Or my team ends up.
You got to go where your eyeballs are. If you're in, Instagram land, then God help you. But I'm there too. I got 10,000 people in Instagram. I have some following there, and it's just, I haven't met a lot of clients from there. Put it that way. Like, my clients tend to be a little more advanced, a little more like this is not their first rodeo type of people. They tend to read books. They tend to watch videos, but I could be wrong too. Maybe I'm just totally missing out on all the many clients I could be having if I took Instagram more seriously. But I feel like I've given it its due, and it hasn't really returned a lot for me. But that's you can't say Instagram doesn't work, because it works for a lot of people, right? It's just, where are your people? So yeah, and
where are your people, and what message on that platform do they
100%. And the model we've landed on, which really works, is get people in our funnel, a lot of them cheap, right? Just $5 leads, $4, whatever cheap leads we can get, that are of a certain targeting demographic, United States, certain amount of income, maybe a few interest tagging, some lookalikes, some custom audiences, whatever it is, retargeting. And then you just love on those people. Just provide a lot of great free content. Love on those people. Maybe some little like buyer, like a book and things like that they can spend a little bit of money and kind of try you out. And my whole goal is just to get them consume something. We put out a lot of great content. Most people never read or watch or do anything with it or listen to it. All right. We're putting out podcasts, putting out YouTube videos, putting out all this stuff. But the ones that, it's like popcorn, the ones that are ready to pop, they pop and they pay you $10,000 or whatever, right? It's like, that's worth the aggravation of all the things that preceded it in order to make it happen. And sometimes they pay you $10,000 next week, and sometimes they pay you $10,000 in 5 years, but it doesn't matter because they're all in the thing. And then we run events twice a year, 4 times a year we're trying to get to, where it's like, now we have an opportunity for the people who are like, I'm not quite ready yet, but I will commit to a low priced event to come and now warm up there. Right. So whatever you're doing, you just got to be warming them up, and you can be warming them up by having conversation on Messenger. If that's the kind of bandwidth you have. You could be warming them up by sending them content through email and text. You could be warming them up through challenges. You could be warming them up through webinars. You could be warming them up through, I don't know, whatever you want.
Instagram lives daily.
Yeah, this live right now to these 5,000 people, right? It's like, these are all people that at one point or another were interested in masterminds and may be interested now and may be interested in the future and may not be interested ever again. But I have to try. Yeah. And the ones that trickle up, that's who we want to work with. And hopefully you'll consider coming to Mastermind of Millions. We teach all this cool stuff too. This
is the way everybody should be doing it. If you're wanting to build your business, this is the way you should be doing it. We're not just trying to get you to grab our stuff, but we're teaching you what you should be doing yourself to build the business.
That's right. This is the only industry where it's like, imagine if you went into a convenience store and bought a Coca-Cola, and then you get a letter in the mail that says, thank you for buying a Coca-Cola. Here's our secret formula. Here's our marketing practices. Here's our budget. Here's our this, here's our that. Here's our funnel. Here's how we got you to buy that Coca-Cola. Imagine that. That's this industry. Literally, this industry is, I get clients, I teach them everything I know. As I learn new stuff, I teach them more stuff. Like 5 years later, Chris paid me one time. He's still learning from me. That's how I choose to run my business. I'm just trying to build my family over time.
Yeah, it's funny. I see so many businesses evolve from like, doing fitness, and then they like teach people how to run their business. And, I've thought about it. I'm like, okay, cool. I could probably help somebody get to 6 figures and, be there. I will never say that I can help you get to 7 because I haven't got there, or even multi 6 figures. But my thing as well is I'm like, I've always been the thing, even as a cop, they used to try and reinvent the wheel all the time. I'm like, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just going to say, go see Brad.
Yeah. You want to build your business? Go see Brad. This is what
you want to build your business? Go see Brad.
And I'll teach you to do it in a non-brain damage leveraged way that doesn't take all your time and make you crazy. That's what a mastermind is.
I've done some courses that help you build your mastermind group coaching, different types of things. And it's bending and breaking your brain. It was a lot of hard work, and it hurt. And I was like, okay, I did it that way. No, I'm going back to Brad's way. Yeah. And this is the thing.
And I welcome it, gang. If you can get one nugget out of any course, it's worth it. I used to buy $2,000 courses like they were candy. Like I would just if I get one idea, I was happy. And now I've started to lean on my own intuition more and buy less of other people's shit. It's not that it's not valuable. I still get good stuff out of it, but like to weed through it all and find something I actually haven't seen before, it's rare. I've been in this industry 10 plus years. Like I've seen a lot of shit. And now I'm starting to lean on my own intuition more and be like, okay, I get quiet and I think like, what could I do? And then I listen and then I do those things. And those are experiments.
Here was that I was doing all sorts of different courses because I was like, okay, cool. I want to learn all these different things. And now I kind of sit there and I'm the same thing. It's like, no, let's just stick with the things that we have that we know work for me.
Yeah.
And let's just
keep doing those things. God forbid you stop doing those things, because this is a kind of an inside joke between Chris and I. It's like if he just kept doing the things that he learned how to do in the first place, he'd be way richer. But anyway. But as you add things that are little experiments, keeping the original plate spinning, or even better, getting people on your team who can now execute on those strategies that are working, that you've already figured out, that they're incentivized to do so. It might not be as good as you can do it, but that's the point. You get maybe 70% or 80% of the results, but 100% of your time back to go do something else.
Yeah.
And that's when you have a business and not a job. When you first start in entrepreneurship, nobody tells you that you're getting 7 jobs.
7.
At least.
At least.
And it's hard. It's hard to block and tackle. You don't have the mindset. You don't have the skill set. You just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And you're very optimistic. And that way is that lasts a little while, but it doesn't get you all the way through. Like when you're first starting out, it's like optimism, vision. Oh my God, I'm going to do it. Oh God, this is hard. Oh God, pessimism, valley of despair. And then it's like, maybe you come up on the upside on the other side, but most people quit down here. And that sucks because I feel like entrepreneurship is really the only path forward. Like we can't all rely on somebody else to employ us. That's not an anti-fragile system. I think we need to be able to make our own money and help people.
Which is why I love what you do around the lifetime type stuff. Like your big program is lifetime, which you don't see it out there.
Which is a stupid business decision. I'm just going to be clear.
Stupid business decision. In the long run,
it's a horrible business decision. Imagine if you're paying me every year. You'd probably pay me every year if I asked you to pay me every year, especially because you're getting the value.
Yeah.
But I don't do that.
Yeah. No.
And why I don't do that is because I want to build the family. I want to build the vibe. I want to build the crew, right? And this is my own beliefs, right? This is my own limiting shit. I won't do this forever.
No.
I don't want to be addicted to helping people with their businesses. I should be building my own. Because no matter how much of this I do, it's never going to make me wealthy.
No.
Because generating cash flow and paying bills is not the same as building wealth. Building wealth requires assets. And that's another whole topic of discussion, but that's been my focus more in the last few years, is like, how can I build assets or buy assets or create assets or whatever? Ideally you buy them, right? That would be the perfect scenario. It's just assets that are already worked out.
Cash flow to buy.
And you're using the cash flow to make a snowball to build more. And eventually you get to a financial freedom place where you don't have to work. And I still will, because I want to work, but I'll work on different things for sure. I'll do different things with my time. I may not coach anymore at some point in my life. I think I'll be over it at some point in my life. It still lights me up now, but I can't say it will in 5 years. And there's days when I don't want to do it anymore. I'll be perfectly honest. And that's a sad fact, is like, as you see in this industry, the people who are great at it and get really good at it, if they don't love it, they don't stick around. And even if they're the best teacher, all their knowledge goes away with them. Right? Like the Tony Robbins of the world. Like I got to get coached by Tony Robbins. He's one of the best ever. One-on-one. I got coached by him. That was pretty cool. And I got to go to all his events and all kinds of cool shit. But like, there's no opportunity to do that now. Really? Like, unless you're going to pay $1 million and wait 3 years, or go to one of his events, like there's very few opportunities for that. And he's not going to be around forever. So it's like,
even still, I think he's pulled a lot of that back.
Yeah. And even at his events now, he doesn't do a lot of it. He doesn't speak a lot because his voice is shot. And he's not in great health sometimes. You know, he's had some mercury poisoning, some other issues as well. So it's like, I'm going to do this for as long as it lights me up. And I don't pretend anymore like it's going to make me wealthy, because it's not the vehicle for me. But luckily I have other skills.
Yeah.
And the masterminds are a great catapult to anybody I'm going to need to know to do those things. So that's why I keep doing it. So I'm cool with the lifetime thing, because it distinguishes me in the marketplace. It really helps people. And as long as they're cool, they can stick around. And if they're not, I don't need the money. I'm not addicted to it. Right. It's like, you paid me, you're either in or out. That's it.
And you're not everybody's people.
That's right. I'm not the right fit for everybody. That's for sure. That is glaringly apparent.
Same here, man. Same here.
We just got Jay just sold another 44 tickets today or yesterday.
Oh, so they're cutting away because there's only so many of them.
Yeah. We're not gonna have a huge event, gang. Even though it's virtual and we could technically make it unlimited. Like, we want to give you very one-to-one type of, thing. If we have 1,000 people there, we can't give one-on-one attention. Our team is not that big. So it's going to be more curated, more intimate. We may bump it to 150. We're thinking around 100, 120. So, we've sold more than half of them now before
the VIPs. I know there's very few of those left.
Yeah. Anyway, if you're on the fence, if you're like, hey, I'm not sure if this is for me, whatever, like, end of the day, gang, if it's really not a fit, we'll refund your money for the low ticket stuff. Don't worry about that. Don't make money the issue. Just show up, give it your all. And, if like by the end of the first day, let's say, just to be fair, I don't want you sitting through the whole thing and then asking for a refund. That's not fair. But if by the end of the first day, you're like, hey, this just isn't for me, I'm not getting value out of this, or, I wasn't sure, but now I am, and I don't want to do it. Cool. I'll give you a refund. That's not the end of the world, but if you're like on the fence, you're not quite sure, come hang out. You might just change your damn life.
I watched some lives get changed at that event, at the last one. So
yeah, it's still happening. Some people kept going with us, and now they're working with us for a year and all that. So that's exciting. And by the way, I don't even offer a lifetime at that event because I can't, because I have a business partner.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah,
I only offer lifetime for my own stuff that I only fulfill. That's it. I won't ever put that commitment on anybody else. And lifetime for me is as long as I do this, which I'm not planning to quit tomorrow. So that's good. If you want to go to Mastermind of Millions, if you believe in the power of masterminds, if you've been following me for a while and you're just like, hey, I just need a kick in the ass, whatever it is, come on down. We're here for you. Thank you for doing that, Chris. Appreciate that.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, everybody. Love you much. I'll see you at the event. I'll see you in the group, and have a great day. Take care. Thanks, Chris.